He was found dead, lying peacefully in bed. No autopsy, no investigation, just a quick embalming. And silence. In the heart of the Vatican, where nothing is ever accidental, Pope John Paul I died only 33 days after being elected. A healthy man, a cheerful man, a pope who spoke of cleaning up corruption, confronting power, and shining light into the darkest corners of the church. But some lights burn too bright, and some secrets kill. It was August 1978, a year already soaked in tension for the Catholic Church. Pope Paul VI had died, and the world was watching Rome. The church needed a new leader, one who could heal, one who could change things, one who wasn't entangled in scandals or political games. Cardinal Albino Luciani wasn't supposed to win. He was too humble, too soft-spoken, too unknown. But when the white smoke rose from the Sistine Chapel and the bells rang, the world saw a man who radiated warmth. Luciani chose the name John Paul I in honor of his two predecessors, a symbolic move 1 foot in tradition, 1 foot in hope. They called him the Smiling Pope. He wasn't just charming. He was different. He refused to wear the papal tiara, refused to be carried on the ceremonial throne. He cut his speeches short. He spoke plainly. He smiled. People believed in him. But inside the Vatican, not everyone was smiling. In just a few short weeks, John Paul I began quietly shaking the foundations of power in the church. Behind the scenes, he started asking questions about money, about influence, about a bank. The Vatican Bank, officially called the Institute for the Works of Religion, was supposed to fund religious missions. But under the surface, it was a shadowy, secretive institution. Rumors swirled of money laundering, mafia connections, and unholy deals. At the center of it all was a man named Paul Marcinkus, an American archbishop and head of the bank. Known as a gorilla for his size and presence, Marcinkus held enormous influence. Luciani didn't like what he saw. He began reviewing files, making notes, considering changes. And he wasn't stopping at the bank. He was also preparing to remove several powerful figures inside the Curia, men connected to political circles, secret societies, and scandals the church had quietly buried for decades. He told his closest aides that he planned a purge, a dramatic one. He was with a clean house, but he never got the chance. September 28, 1978, the Pope retired to bed around 9:30 p.m., after a long day of meetings and prayer. The next morning, at around 4:45 a.m., Sister Vincenza, his nun housekeeper, found him sitting upright in bed, still wearing his glasses, a few typed papers resting on his lap. He was dead. The official story was a heart attack. No autopsy, no toxicology, no examination. Within hours, the Vatican was already making funeral arrangements. Embalmers were brought in that same day, something unheard of so quickly after death, especially for a head of state. They said they were honoring tradition, but to many, it looked like a cover-up. Here's what it makes sense. 1. The Vatican changed its story multiple times. At first, they said Sister Vincenza found the body. Then they claimed the priest did. Then back to the nun. The timeline kept shifting. 2. The Pope's health was fine. Luciani had no history of heart problems. Days before his death, he had walked briskly through the halls. His doctor even described him as being in perfect condition for a man his age. 3. Why no autopsy? Even in Italy, when someone dies suddenly, there's a standard procedure. Not this time. 4. The missing papers. Witnesses reported seeing a typed document on his lap. When he was found believed to be a list of names he planned to remove from office, that paper vanished. It was never mentioned again. 5. The Vatican Bank. A few years later, the same bank would collapse in one of Italy's biggest financial scandals. Millions gone, bankers dead, including Roberto Calvi, found hanging from a bridge in London with bricks stuffed in his pockets. The man they called God's banker. Every trail led back to the same place. The Vatican. Theories exploded. books were written. Whistleblowers emerged. Investigative journalists dug deep. Some said the Pope was poisoned. Some claimed it was digitalis, a drug that causes heart failure, but leaves no obvious trace if not tested for quickly. Others pointed to the powerful Italian Masonic Lodge propaganda do, or P2, a shadowy group of elites, including politicians, bankers, and high-ranking clergy who were believed to have infiltrated the church. John Paul I was reportedly planning to expose them. Then there was the mafia theory, with the Vatican Bank allegedly laundering money for organized crime. The Pope's reform efforts pose a direct threat. A sudden death? Easier than letting him clean house. Even respected insiders like British historian John Cornwell and journalist David Yallop questioned the official version. Yallop's 1984 bestseller In God's Name laid out a chilling case for murder, pointing fingers at a network of conspirators inside the Vatican who had everything to lose and a motive to act fast. The Vatican dismissed it all as fantasy, but they never offered proof to the contrary. After the funeral, silence, no investigation, no inquiry. The next Pope, John Paul II, was elected quickly. He had a different approach. Strong, political, and he never reopened the case. Paul Marcinkus kept his position at the Vatican Bank for another decade. No one was ever charged. No one was ever questioned. No one was ever blamed. And yet, in the decade that followed, the church would be rocked by scandals that all seemed to connect. Secret deals, abuse cover-ups, financial fraud, and a refusal to confront the rot inside. Was Pope John Paul the first man who might have stopped it? Albino Luciani served for only 33 days. No great encyclicals, no political campaigns, no sweeping reforms. But his short reign left behind a ghost that haunts the Vatican to this day. A smiling pope with a plan, a man who read the books, asked the wrong questions, and may have gotten too close to the truth. Maybe he died of natural causes. Maybe he didn't. But what we know for certain is this. The Catholic Church lost a pope who wanted change, and in his place came silence. Sometimes, silence is louder than truth. He was the only pope in history to die without an autopsy. He ruled for barely a month, but his death still echoes. Was it murder? Was it fate? Was it politics? We may never know. But in the shadows of the Vatican, where power, secrets, and faith collide, not even the Pope is safe. You've been watching State of Crime. If this story gripped you, hit that like button, subscribe for more true crime revelations, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the truth doesn't wear a halo.